This video is about CELPIP Listening Part 2. Now, when we are speaking about Part 2, it is not about solving a problem. It's about extracting specific factual information from a natural conversation. So, no emotional journey, no big decision at the end, no wow moment. Instead, CELPIP wants to know, can you track details accurately while the speakers casually exchange information? This is why part 2 feels easier and why many people still lose marks. Yes, every part 2 conversation quietly follows this structure. The first one is context is set quickly, who they are, where they are, why they are talking. And the second one, information is exchanged in clusters like schedules, options, prices, locations, procedures, so and so. Everything is exchanged or organized in clusters. And the third one is details are repeated but slightly changed. You have to make a note of it. This is where traps appear, okay? And the fourth one, no final decision is required. The conversation may simply end after sharing information. If you wait for a solution like part 1, you will miss the answers. Okay? Now, from understanding English to understanding the test, most test takers think self listening is about English level. It's not. If English alone decided scores, fluent speakers would always get 12. They don't. High scorers are not better listeners, and they are better listeners for CELPIP. And that difference begins in the mind before the audio even starts. Okay? So, this is the first mind shift number one. So if you want, you can just pause the video, take your pen and paper, and make a note of all the strategies that we are going to discuss so that you can apply it in real time. Okay? So the first shift, stop listening like a human being. This sounds strange, but it's critical. In real life, when someone speaks, you react emotionally, right? And sometimes you judge their ideas, sometimes you agree or disagree, and you also predict what you would do. Self punishes this instinct. The test does not care what makes sense to you, it cares what is explicitly stated, even if it feels obvious or unnecessary. Okay, so high scorers turn off natural reactions and switch to observation mode. They don't think, oh, yes, that's a good idea. They think, is this stated as a fact, a suggestion, or an assumption? That one internal question changes everything. Got it? And the second mind shift is your job is not to understand everything. Yes, this is where anxiety kills your scores. Low scorers try to understand each and every sentence. They try to catch every word and they replay missed phrases in their head. While they are mentally rewinding, the audio moves forward automatically, right? And the answer passes too. So high scorers accept something uncomfortable. Missing words, normal, right? And missing structure is deadly. So you need to listen for the purpose, direction, and you have to listen for small changes, the shift, and the confirmations, not vocabulary. So high scorers always trust that self-help repeats key ideas in different forms. So they stay present instead of chasing perfection. And let's move on to the third mind shift. Self-pep audio is not neutral, it is engineered. So nothing in the recording is accidental. Pauses, hesitation, rephrasing, examples, all of it is designed to distract, delay, or disguise the tested point. So high scorers assume everything is a potential trap. When a speaker explains something twice, they ask internally, why is this being repeated? Often the second version is more specific or more restricted, or sometimes it may be more accurate also. So the second version is usually closer to the answer. Okay. Now, the fourth shift is stop listening linearly. You have to listen structurally. How? Average listeners follow the audio like a story, like a beginning, middle, end. But if you see high scorers, They try to listen in layers. At the same time, they track who is speaking, why they are speaking, what role the information plays. Example, they'll try to get the ideas when the audio is playing, like, is this the background? Is this an example? Is this a condition? Or is this the main information? They mentally label information without writing it down. So this allows them to discard irrelevant parts instantly. Okay. Now let's move on to the final mind shift. Mind shift number 5. Emotion is noise. Logic is signal. Yes, self-help uses emotion to distract you. Frustration, excitement, concern, relief. These sound important, but often are not. High scorers know that the emotion explains why someone speaks, logic explains what is tested. So they listen through emotion, not to emotion. Okay, you can understand the difference, right? They wait for clarification, limitation, correction, confirmation. So those moments carry marks here. Remember. Okay, now let's see an example here. Now you can imagine this conversation. Again, I'm just going to explain the conversation. What is it about? A man calls a community recreation center to ask about evening fitness classes. He explains that he works full time and is looking for something that fits his schedule after 6 p.m. The woman at the center explains that they offer several evening options, including yoga, strength training, and swimming sessions. She also mentions that most evening classes begin at either 6:30 or 7 and usually last 1 hour. Again, the man was asking whether the classes are suitable for beginners as he has not exercised regularly in quite some time. The woman reassures him that the beginner level options are clearly labeled and that instructors usually provide modified exercises for new participants. Then he was asking about the pricing. The woman explains that individual classes cost $15 each, but a monthly membership costs $90 and allows unlimited access to all class. She adds that members also receive discounted rates for personal training sessions. And the man asked if advance registration is required, and the woman replied that while drop-ins are allowed, popular classes such as evening yoga tend to fill up quickly, so online registration is recommended. Before ending the call, the woman mentions that the center is closed on public holidays and advises him to check the schedule online for any updates. Okay, and the call ends politely. Now, let me tell you how self builds questions in part 2. Instead of what decision does he make, part 2 asks what is available when something happens, how much something cost, what is recommended versus optional, and what conditions apply. Okay, so that is how the questions will be framed in self-help listening part 2. So let's move on to the questions here. For the first question, why does the man contact the recreation center? Now you know the context. Try to identify the correct option, okay? To complain about class availability, to ask about evening fitness options, to register for personal training, to cancel a membership. Of course, the correct option is option B because his purpose is informational. He wants options that fit his evening schedule. No action yet. And for the second question, which classes are offered in the evening? Again, four options are given. You can just go through it. Let me tell you the correct option is option C. If you see high scorer move directly, listen for the list. CELPIP allows grouping details together. Okay? And for the third question, what does the woman say about beginner participants? Four options. They must take private lessons limited to morning classes, supported with modified exercise. They must register in advance, and the correct option is option C. So here the trap avoided. She does not say beginners are restricted. She say they are supported. Okay. And for the fourth question, what is the advantage of a monthly membership? And the right answer is option C. So here, differentiate included versus discounted, right? Discount doesn't mean it is free. You have to be very careful. So this is the key skill. And for the fifth question, what does the women recommend regarding popular classes? And the right option is again option C. This one you have to look for the signal word recommended, which means not required but advised. Okay? Okay, so that's all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more self help tips. See you in the next video. Bye bye.